Okay, let's go to Paolo. Paolo Banchero. Where is his best fit? Or who is the best fit for Paolo Banchero?
Well, you just spoke so glowingly about Houston, and I think just based on his range, that's where I would put him. I don't care that they drafted Alperen Şengün and Usman Garuba a year ago. Who knows what happens with Christian Wood and Kevin Porter Jr., John Wall again? But I sort of like the fire and ice pairing of him with Jalen Green, who played really well to end the year. And Paolo
Yeah.
would bring you immediate toughness, that winning mentality of being a Final Four and being at Duke and having so much success in high school, and it's a place that I think that will really embrace the chip on his shoulder he's going to have if he goes third overall. Paul Banchero believes he's the best player in the draft and like lives it. It's not lip service. Like he thinks he's the best player and doesn't understand why he's not number one on all the boards. They're going to like get the most out of that with that fuel. I don't think he's going to get complacent and be there. Jalen Green heard the same stuff the first half of the season, and then he turned it on late at the end and had this great finish to the year. You take that guy, and now you have Paolo, and they're kind of running together. That's a good base to build upon, regardless of what happens with everything else on the roster.
So for Paulo, I considered his like reasonable draft range 1 through 3 again. I would be surprised if he got out of the top 3.
Mhm.
So considering the top teams, right? Paulo loves to operate in that mid post range. And Orlando's core, like Wendell Carter, as much as we like the idea of Wendell Carter shooting, tends to operate more in that area. They don't have a ton of shooting right now. I worry that Paulo would get a little bit crowded there and we wouldn't see the best out of him, right? While he's developing his 3-point shot. I'm not worried about that happening long term. And if Orlando thinks Paulo is the best player in the draft, I think they should just take him and like figure it out. I don't have that. I think Jabari is a little bit better than he is because I trust Jabari defensively and I trust his movement skills a little bit more and I trust the shot a little bit more. But like, if Orlando thinks that, Orlando should take Paulo. Oklahoma City, I think it's easier to work around 2-star questionable defenders than it is to work around 3. And in Oklahoma City, if you drafted Paulo, you'd be working with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is not a very good defender right now, Josh Giddey, who is not a very good defender, and Paulo, who we have defensive questions about in terms of translation. Like, I thought that he got toasted a little bit on the perimeter defensively at Duke. I thought that some of it probably was engagement related at times. Like, not always. I think in the games that mattered, he engaged and turned it up, but there were moments where it was concerning. In Houston, I worry a little bit about pairing that with Jalen Green.
Yeah.
But I also think the way that he would play off of Jalen Green in a 2-man game, and you could say this about Oklahoma City as well. I think the way he would play off of Jalen Green with his scoring ability in the 2-man game would be exceptional, because the thing that Paulo adds that Jalen Green doesn't quite have yet and maybe could develop is the passing ability. Paulo's passing ability is and remains the thing that nobody in the mainstream seems to want to talk about, but is his best skill, I think. I think Paulo's best ability is his ability to diagnose, help defenses, and make plays for his teammates. Like, he throws pocket passes to Mark Williams. He throws lobs to Mark Williams. He throws high-level kick-out reads, like on the move while spinning. He's just a very effective player. I really want to see that 2-man game with him and Jalen Green. Like,
So
that's what I
Houston.
keep coming back to.
I was like, where are we going? Are you going to throw like the Pistons at me or Pacers? And I'm glad Houston. We're 3 for 3 so
It's
far.
Houston, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I really, truly do believe that Houston would be great. I don't love the idea of pairing him in the front court with Alperen Şengün. I don't love the idea of pairing him in the front court with Alperen or with Domantas Sabonis either, if it was Sacramento. And they just expended an enormous resource to acquire Domantas Sabonis and Tyrese Halliburton. The Pistons would be great. I'm all for the Pistons, but again, I think that there's no way he falls to 5. So I think it's Houston. I think Houston makes a whole lot of sense for Paolo, and I think the 2-man game for Jalen Green and him is the ultimate building block for a team looking for building blocks after the departure of James Harden.
Yeah, they're great blocks, and that's why I went there too. Similar and age and like that similar sort of type of play, they can just play off of each other. And there's some simplicity to what they do while also having these athletic gifts. And yeah, Paolo is as good as a big man passer, probably in this draft. I'm just off the top of my head, I can't really think of anyone
I,
else there.
I
But
think he's the best passer, like among all lottery picks in this class, like point blank. Like I
over
think
Dyson,
he's a better
over Dyson
passer
Daniels,
than Dyson Daniels. Yeah, I do.
the Dyson assist tape is pretty fancy. Like when he takes off the rim and throws that rope, whatever, 80 feet. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, that's impressive.
spicy.
Uh, it's spicy, but he gets slow down the half court. He does. It's almost like Paolo's passes are more like weaponized in the half court.
Yeah,
Dyson's are so like there was one highlight I saw where he caught it. It was like on his back foot. He was like waiting for the alley oop to develop and then threw it. That was just like G League defense. The guy wasn't close out hard enough. That pass isn't going to happen in the NBA. Where Paolo's, it's more in traffic, as I like to say.
yeah. The question for Dyson, and we'll talk about Dyson, but like
Yeah, we'll
the
get
reason I would take Paulo as a passer over Dyson is because I think that Paulo can actually break down defenders and create angles with his ability to create mismatches and force doubles.
mhm.
Uh, in a way where I worry just a little bit about Dyson. I think that it's going to be a little bit more functional for Paulo.